Dear Leon C., aka Morpheus, I'm a caterer out in New Orleans, and your audio have been helping me through my day. Listening to you during my headphones and my 8-hour shifts have been an enlightenment to me on multiple levels. I'm going to do whatever I can to contribute to your channel, or as you say, our channel, LOL, because you do great work that not only is inspiring me, but I am sure will inspire everyone else should they come across your channel. My question for you is how there are some people who are able to not get sick through in certain situations, such as if they don't wash their hands, if they drop food on the floor, and I notice some people will pick it up off the floor and they'll be just fine weeks later. But then there are some who are very sensitive to it, such as I am sometimes, whereas even if I wash my hands, I still end up getting sick or catching a cold or a stomach ache from coming in contact with equal surfaces from those who otherwise are seemingly immune to it. Can you explain this to me? If this is your atmosphere, as you say, I love that word that you use all the time, then I will greatly be appreciative to hear from you in response. Love your work. Keep it up. All right, very well. I am also glad that you have contacted me as well, and this will also help you, my listeners, and we both will appreciate it if you as well, who are listening, will contribute to this channel. Like it after you listen to it, because I know you will like something, and share it and subscribe. And do your just diligence and check out my Patreon. That way I can keep this information going for you and every one of you here in America who may need an additional opinion from your advisor and your helper. I think what I'm going to start doing in all of my audios is just particularly tell you that I am your advisor and your helper. But of course, you know me as Morpheus. So I don't want you to misunderstand and think that I am a office worker, that I have a hospital somewhere in town and I am doing surgery and administration to any patients. Okay? I do not hold office. All right? And I do not walk around with a business card and a badge and claiming to be your number one counselor to come to. There are professional peoples out here in America who is trained to do that. Okay? You have psychologists who go to their indoctrination camps to learn how to do what I do naturally. And I'm not going to talk about that yet. I will explain that to you in another audio. Okay? So that's for them. But if you still decide to come to me, you're going to get solid advice. You're going to get solid help. It's going to be thorough. It's going to be accurate. And I do my research as well. All right. The knowledge and information that I have obtained, okay, is through nature, through instincts, and through will knowledge, okay, that experience delivers, not being taught to be delivered. There are several different knowledges that you can receive in the world. Knowledge, intelligence, wisdom, they are several different dimensions all together. They are not brothers and sisters, although they work together as a team. They can come together and collaborate to build something, but they are from several different origins all together. All right. I have them all, but the one that I am more skeptical about than anything is information that is beamed in from the misunderstanding and calculations of many voices. And most of them are needed to be spoon-fed, okay, a sense of thought. Okay, I was never one to say that I am going to stand behind the badge. I will not speak about any badges that I may have or degrees because it is irrelevant. Okay, it is particularly pointless because I do not boast. I don't brag. Okay, I am a teacher, but I'm not a teacher by the indoctrination systems that you so happen to love and honor and respect as a hierarchy. Okay, to me, that is completely irrelevant. I am a teacher because of the knowledge that I have to share with you. Okay, I have a right and I have an obligation to teach those who are in need of guidance and those who need real, solid advice and information that can empower them without charging you a penny. So therefore, as to my kind services that I pretty much render unto you for free, based on the contents, my book, and every other type of energy that I give unto you, all I ask is in return is to do those minor things such as like, share, support, and check out that book. So that way I will know that my effort in uplifting you and your family is not in vain, because my whole objective is to get the word out, is to help and to give you my strength in your times of need. Now, bacteria is a very curious thing. But before you even begin to talk about the variations of bacteria and how it can affect you and what is this origin, okay, you must understand first it's an organism. Okay, it's a living microscopic thing. And it does come in various forms. It comes in various coagulations. It comes in various compounds, and it comes in various chemicals. And oftentimes it can blend in with most of your environment. And of course, as you already know, it's microscopic. So there are times where you just cannot see it at all. Sometimes there's a component. Morpheus Leon C. I appreciate all the content that you give unto us. You have been of a solid, sound mind. I'm very thankful of the strength and information that you have summed up together. During my own research, I have found out that generally you are right. It's just that people just don't want to succumb to the knowledge. It may be said in a different way, but when it all comes down to it, you're actually correct most times. I would like to contribute as much as possible, and it would be nice if more people would like, share, and subscribe. Because you deserve it, and I appreciate how you love us and how you appreciate the children and how you are speaking from concern and compassion. I can hear it in your voice, and I am moved by your impact. I have a question that you haven't answered yet, I'm pretty sure, since I followed many of your audios. But you haven't talked too much about cigarette smokes. My family have been chain smokers for a long time, ever since my grandfather passed away from cancer. But they still are persistent in their smoking, and it's becoming a family tradition. And I think it is very nasty. It gets in my clothes. I can smell it when I'm on my way to work. Okay, every time I smell someone who has a cigarette or who have been smoking, it always reminds me of my grandpa who's no longer here. But I begin to realize that it's not such a good thing. It's just a reminder of a poison that is easily overlooked. I want to know, what is your opinion about this, and what is your red pill on this subject? All right. Very well. I have not talked too much about cigarettes. It's a big thing. I'm not going to say everyone smokes. I'm going to say most people do. When you open up your eyes, cigarettes is almost as common as people having a cell phone or a smartphone. You see it everywhere. You see it in their hands, the smartphone, and definitely you will see a cigarette in someone else's hands. I will tell you this. There's nothing good that can come from a cigarette. Nothing good comes from it. but what that person will receive as a stimulant, a stimulating drug in their body from the nicotine that the tobacco produces. Okay, and other factors of having a habit of putting this material in between their lips that they're not necessarily chewing like a piece of gum, but it is between their lips nonetheless. That becomes another psychological addiction. Even if it wasn't a cigarette, but just having something in between your lips sometimes can give you a sense of a cathartic feeling of dopamine, an increase in your, what do you call that? In your reward system and sensors in your brain chemistry. I did a little, actually something happened a couple of months ago. And this truck driver was riding down the road, and I seen them, I actually see the burl of smoke and a little bit of fire on the side of the freeway from this tractor trailer, semi-truck, most people know it to be. And it was only a single car issue. It wasn't an accident, or you could say a wreck, as I like to call it. No such thing as accidents. They're mostly wrecks, people just being careless. When you're careless, there's going to be a wreck. That doesn't mean you made an accident. It wasn't an accident. You did it on purpose when you avoid safety precautions. So I'm going to say wreck. All right. You know, I'm going to be technical. That's just what I do, how I talk. And as the information have come to me, doing my digging and fact finding, come to find out, it was actually a driver who was smoking while he were driving, and he dropped the cigarette in the cabin of the truck. Okay, and didn't notice the items that were there in the cabin itself was inflammatory and et cetera, et cetera. The story goes on. He couldn't get to it in time because he was already on a busy freeway. It was kind of hard to stop it, and he had other drinks and food, and it just got out of hand. Okay, they try now to make these vehicles not so inflammatory, plastic, certain type of items that aren't going to be so hazardous, but it still happens. Okay, especially with certain types of trucks that are carrying certain chemicals, where there might be wood in the back, and it's already, if it's hot outside and there's not a lot of wind, it's going to be easier to get out of hand pretty fast. Good thing was the driver survived from it, but this whole machine was destroyed by a single cigarette. And now that you bring this question to my attention, I would say that the cigarette is more than just a cancer possibility. And a lot of people misunderstand cancer as well. It can seem like a misdiagnosis when the doctor or the examiner tells you that there's cancer in another part of the body, but they have taken in the cancer stick through their mouth to their lungs. I don't want to get too far and confuse you, but I'm going to just expand on that just a little bit, that cancer travels through the body. Okay? That's just for some of you who misunderstand. Usually, all the time, it's not just going to stop at the lungs. It's going to go from the lungs, it's going to go to the gut, it's going to go to your vital areas. There are times where it can go to your breast and it can go to your brain. You can have brain cancer as well. From cutting yourself off from oxygen from the cigarette smoke and the nicotine and cancer producing elements that it has, because you remember when you're smoking, it cuts off your oxygen. All right. And with that, it adds in with its other poisonous gases that you're bringing into your body. Okay. At a high and fast rate, just to get that nicotine kick. Okay. So your cells begin to mutate. And it definitely has a problem with being able to heal itself over time, especially with constant exposure. Okay, then of course you have the cancer that begin to build in certain parts of your body, and cancers usually love to attack weak parts of your body, or fragile parts of your flesh, and definitely of your internal organs, whereas it will travel. That cancer will be all over your body, and you only taking it into your lungs. So just in case you are confused as to a diagnosis, it's correct if the doctor tells you that it's in their gut when they take it into their lungs, or they got to do some amputations, or there's brain cancer, so forth and so on, or the kidneys, something of that nature, because your entire body is an organism. Your entire body needs oxygen, and your entire body is going to use that flow and fluidity to, of course, carry whatever chemicals or whatever you do through the bloodstream and through your veins and so forth and so on. All right. Sometimes you can be fortunate. Sometimes you can be very unfortunate, but it's the gamble that you really don't want to pay. But unfortunately, people don't care. All right. I've even talked to a friend of mine several months ago, and this friend of mine was kind of hurt. You know, she was a female friend, and sit down, talked with her. So I was like, "What's wrong? And why are you feeling so humglum? You're not so sparky as you usually are." She explained to me that one of her colleagues passed away from brain cancer. Okay, and I've known this gentleman, and he was an older gentleman too, and I've heard rumors and from her herself also talking about how that he shouldn't have been smoking, and he's been back and forth in the hospital where the doctor told him specifically that cigarettes isn't doing anything but speeding up his process of of passing away. Okay, but ever since I've seen this gentleman, he didn't take a break. He never took a break. He always smoked, always had a cigarette between his fingers, always constantly stressed out, always just a chain smoker. So when she brought it to my attention that he passed away from brain cancer, I wasn't surprised, and nor was I moved. And she didn't like what I said. And some of you may not like what I say, but you know me as Morpheus. This is what I do. I give you the red pill. And a lot of you look forward to honesty. You don't have time to be playing games. You're looking for answers, and you're looking for people such as myself who's going to be direct with you, and I'm going to be direct with you. So what I told this girl, my friend, I said, listen, I really cannot feel sorry for him because he worked towards his end. She was really upset when I said that, like the tears kind of stopped. She wasn't crying, but, in her crying type of way and pouting, it was. And she got a straight face. She was kind of upset. She said, how cold-hearted can you say that? I used to like that guy, and he was so cool, and he was such a nice guy, and I used to work with him all the time, and he blah, blah, blah. Woman emotions, blah, blah, no logic. Okay, here comes the Charlie Brown. All over again, right? Didn't hear anything that I said. I said he worked towards it. How can you feel sorry for someone who worked towards their end? Of course you're going to miss them. Okay, obviously, you don't want a person to go to the bad ending anyway, because you give them the signs, you give them warnings, you tell them. Okay, the FDA says it all the time. You got the drug and tobacco places telling you that this is not a good idea. Okay, you got nurses, doctors, and people around your country, and definitely schools that have signs outside your billboard that says smoking isn't good. It is no different than putting a loaded revolver to your head. But you got these grown adults that say, I don't care. We're going to pass away from something one day anyway, and they go about doing it. So that means they work towards the goal. They wanted that to happen. Okay, they played Russian roulette and they lost because it was let's see, you got a 6-shooter. It was 9 bullets against 1 bullet that might be empty. An empty chamber, which is nothing but luck and chance. So she didn't like that I said that, but of course, later on, she called me up and she apologized for getting upset as to what I said. She understood that I was right. On that measure, I have to help you out and other people. A lot of people here in America, and women, they have the ability to do that, where when their emotions are out of control, when they disconnect themselves from just being calm and have rational thinking and actually come up with a compromise, and they're so-called, and especially some of who are Christians, and that expression that says, in all thy way, get an understanding. Okay, get an understanding first before you get emotional. A lot of them they'll blow up the entire town and city and then apologize later and then realize what they did wrong through their emotions. Okay, so she's not the only one that usually do that on a constant basis. You will find that common around your country of America, where most women who don't have practice with self-control, instead of thinking about what the teacher is saying, are concentrating on the logic behind the interaction. Usually it's emotions first, anger first, it's how I feel first, and then after the smoke settles and everybody is dissipated and the town is destroyed, then all of a sudden she wants to apologize and start saying I'm sorry, and maybe I should have thought about things first before pushing the panic button. Okay, so I wasn't concerned about her getting upset about what I said. I was expecting for her to do that, and then think about what I said later. That's why sometimes I have to even explain that too on this audio. I say, listen, just be calm and think about it first. Okay, when you get done listening to what I'm saying, go home and think about it. Go take a walk in the sand. Drink a glass of wine if you have to, or meditate, or go to sleep on it, and you might get your answer. You'll begin to understand what I'm saying. If you don't understand it at first, it will come to you slowly but surely, and that's in all of my audios. If you don't understand it, take your time and you will get the answer. There's no need for debate when facts is right there in your face. So anyway, get back to the story. She ended up apologizing. She called me up, said, I apologize. You was right. I was just kind of emotional because he left. You're right. You know, he was told to stop smoking. You know, we all shouldn't be doing it anyway, but we do it, and we pass away because of it. So there's no need for me to get upset. Okay, he did work towards it, so that means he wasn't concerned about his own life and his own safety. All right. But here's the second thing about, about smoking. It's not just the cancer factors that we all should know by now. Okay, it's also hazardous when it comes to that scenario I told you about, that truck driver driving and dropped the cigarette in his truck. Fire kills people, and it destroys homes, it destroys apartment complexes, and various cases are rising up, and it is in the book where a person will go to sleep. Or here it is. They'll work a 10-hour shift all day. All right. And they got to rush back and forth with their kids. The day is responsible. They got to do things at home. Of course, they got to go places, shop, and the everyday conundrum that your average person does. Okay. And what happens is they work themselves to the extremity, to the point to where they're practically tired when they get home. But yet they still need their nicotine fit. They still need to provide themselves with some sort of stress relief. All right. And so you'll find cases where these individuals, they go home, they will light a cigarette, they're in their bedroom, and the ashes begin to fall to the floor or something of that nature. They forget what they're doing oftentimes, because when you're working off of fumes and you're halfway tired, you're not going to remember everything that you did. You're just exhausted. Okay, you want to get your cigarette fix. And just as easily as you and I can fall asleep if we work ourselves to the bone, and we'll fall asleep and forget how we went to sleep. We forgot how we got there. We'll jump in the bed and we'll wake up on the edge of the bed. We go to sleep and we'll wake up sometime. Well, that never happened, but I'm pretty sure some people wake up on the floor. Or you'll wake up and you still got your work clothes on. You'll wake up and you thought you laid down on the edge of the foot of the bed, and you'll wake up all the way up there where the wall is, where your pillows are, and you curled up against the wall and you wonder how you got there. Okay, so oftentimes this comes by being completely exhausted. And what you got to understand with the demands of America, with the demands of the what we have here in the economy today, and the not having enough time for yourself or your children, and rushing to survive and working 2 jobs for some people, doing a part-time job, going home and taking care of your kids, you can be very tired and not know it, that you're working on fumes, whereas if you sit still, it's going to be blackout. Okay, and a lot of those people have been smokers. They've been smokers where they will go to sleep with a cigarette in their hand. and they would drop the cigarette on their wooden floor, on their carpeted floor, on their bed. And what ends up happening is that you end up finding out on the news that there was a house fire, there was apartment fire, there was a fire in somebody's property. Okay. And oftentimes there might be some survivors, but a lot of times there won't be any survivors because the smoke put them to sleep first. Okay. And I'm trying to say this very, very lightly. The smoke put them to sleep first before the flames got to them. Okay. And it's all due to the cigarette. It's all due to that single flame that's between your fingers. If you really want to look at cigarettes from a different perspective besides being a cancer stick, look at it like a miniature torch. Look at it like a torch that has the ability to set things on fire. Okay? Oftentimes, I even get nervous when somebody gets done with the cigarettes. They'll flick it in the grass, and you see that it's still lit. It's still lit, and it's right there in the grass, and they'll just simply walk away because it's a habit. It's a habit for them to do. They're used to doing that, but there are times where they will listen. There's times where they'll flick that cigarette, they'll walk away, and that cigarette is not going to go down no time soon. It's not going to stop. Okay, it's going to burn whatever it touches and wherever it's at. And if you think I'm telling you a lie, look at some of the smoke ashtrays that are around your public areas. Look at the plastic smoke tray. Look at the smoke trays that are outside of some stores where they are all murked up with the burnt ashes on the edges. They got cigarette indentions where people press their cigarettes into it. It's a miniature torch. It's a miniature torch, and it is a serious liability. And various people who was upset with the cigarette law, that there have to be away from your buildings to smoke. They got to have several feet away from your building. There's isolated cigarette places that they can stand in and smoke, zones, as you want to call them. Some people have to smoke across the street from buildings, corporations, and stores, stuff like that. You cannot be mad at these places for wanting to implement that. There's a serious reason, because it's not just the cigarette smoke. It's not just secondhand smoke that innocent people don't want to and don't need to be involved in. It's also a fire hazard. It's also a fire hazard, which is one of the biggest things as well. This is why I tell you, no good comes from smoking a cigarette. No good comes from it. Okay, it's just complete distortion, whereas it has been made common. Now, it's kind of funny when you think about the movie stars, when you think about the advertisement in Camel and all that, when they tried to portray this cool person with a cigarette in their mouth. Okay, they tried to pretend like cigarette smoke was just the greatest thing to do when you are young. Like, oh, this is so cool. Okay, but there's nothing cool about your breath smelling like tobacco. There's nothing cool about your clothes smelling like nasty tar. There's nothing cool about getting into the car seat of somebody who smokes and the car stink and the seat is sticky. Okay, that is a very unattractive thing. There's nothing cool about it. And the bad thing about it is that car ended up smelling like that for a long time. Even after a couple of smokes of cigarettes, it will take you months to get that smell out of the car and even your clothes. There was a time where in the past, they used to allow smoking in clubs, in nightclubs. Okay. When I was there visiting friends and having a good time myself, doing a little dancing, okay, exploring the nightlife, I didn't smoke. I didn't deal with that. That wasn't anything that I introduced myself to because it was nasty, filthy. I don't need it. It's nicotine, it's dependency, and it shows that you're weak. Sorry, I told you. Get over it. Anyway, so I didn't need it. I was already geeked up off life. Okay, I barely even drink anything. As a matter of fact, I never needed to drink anything. It wasn't me to sit at the bar. Okay, I was always interested in the music and the people. Okay, but what was so unfortunate was when I left that club, I smelled like I was the smoker. My clothes was so filthy and tar and cigarette smoke. You would almost swear that I was sitting up there having a pack of cigarettes to myself, smoking in my shirt and in my coat. And it was the nastiest thing. They were clean clothes. There was nothing wrong with my clothes, but they soaked up all the cigarette smell and tar. It was trifling. All right. One of the most disgusting things possible. So when they got rid of the cigarette and they banned it from the club scene, I was happy. I felt very good about that. I came home and my clothes smelled as great as when I left to go out to the clubs with. OK, and let's imagine how a person's home is now. Don't take it wrong, my smokers. I'm not coming down at you. Don't get upset. I'm only telling you the fact. You smoke, so you may not know this. OK. It's not good for people who do not smoke. We are able to smell and notice the difference. That is no good for us. OK. Now, it is one thing. It is a very bad habit. But for two as well, it is also very well, you would say, oh, it's your opinion, Morpheus. It's nasty. It's nasty. OK, that's not something that you should be forced to smell at any sort of distance. OK, especially if you're not a part of it. All right. So therefore, when you look at when you sit down and you think of all the benefits of smoking, there's no benefit at all besides the nicotine. It's all around dangerous because it's a miniature torch in between your fingers. It smells bad where it gets in your clothes, your hair, your skin. OK. All around your car. It gets in your house. It's all in the carpet. OK. It's all in the drapes. So it has this permanent smoke smell that you can't get rid of. And also, of course, everybody knows it causes cancer and sickness within your body. I'm not going to say just your lungs because cancer travels. OK, it causes complete eradication in your body. So it's like, what's the purpose of it? Well, just like a lot of other things that you see in your environment, sickness have become normalized where they're accustomed to it. We're so insensitive to the things that we should be sensitive about, where we are okay with it. You know, it's a dangerous thing to live around a smoker. It really is. And I know it's no bash to y'all. No, we're good people. I've been doing it for 15 years. Well, all it takes is one time for you to just put the cigarette down in the wrong area. You get drunk, you go to sleep, and you wake up, everything is gone. Now everybody else have to suffer because of your nicotine fix, because your addiction. It doesn't take 15 years for you to realize that it's bad. All it takes is one time and the entire village is burnt down because it's a miniature torch. It's a miniature torch in several ways. The smell, the chemicals within it, and because it's already lit. It's a miniature torch of fire that can it can pretty much set anything ablaze. Okay? My emailer is actually asking me something and did ask me something that's very legitimate, and it makes a lot of sense that we just want to overlook because most times, again, it is so normalized where we feel like if we talk about it, we're going to be hated. We're going to be hated on for it, and we're going to lose a lot of friends. Why would you want to be friends with somebody who you are telling the truth to don't want to hear the truth anyway? Apparently, they're not your friend. If you are saying something that is accurate and it's right and it's true and nobody wants to hear it, okay, then that means you need to recalculate who your friends are and who you're really talking to. And actually, that should open up your eyes to the people that are around you, that they don't want to accept anything that is good or healthy. If anything, just be honest and say, yeah, I got a cigarette problem. Okay. Yeah, I know I need to quit. It's no good. I've seen my family members drop like flies because of it. But, it's a habit. I'm trying to work it out. Okay. But here's the thing. I have witnessed as a advisor, again, just a helper, many people end up telling me the same thing as a physical trainer and an instructor, blah, 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 blah. This goes on, Morpheus. Okay. I end up hearing from people that want to get in shape. They want to be healthy. They want to get on my organic program. They want me to put them on a diet. Okay, they want me to give them good ideas about themselves and what they're going to do. And one of the things that always come up is they want to stop smoking. So every time I meet them and they have a cigarette in between their fingers, they feel convicted immediately. They'll say, yeah, no, I should be smoking, but I know what you said, but I can't help it. And they think I'm going to come down on them. If anything, I don't. I'm not in a position to judge, and I'm never going to put myself in a position to judge. I'm just here to give you guidelines and possibilities should you decide to listen and you want this red pill to save yourself, your health, and your life. So that way it will benefit you eventually in the long run. So therefore, those individuals, when they usually come in contact with me, Morpheus, okay, I just stand there with my hands in my pocket and just say simply, hello, how are you doing? Okay, they convict themselves. They feel bad because they realize that they have a problem, that they have an issue getting rid of, because they have a habit of fulfilling the internal needs the wrong way. Okay, so they need psychological therapy, or they need to do therapy on themselves, or go to a therapist for other forms of healing, because those single forms of conversation is not working, or whatever directives that I am giving them usually don't work. So it's based on the person's ambition to love themselves in order to heal themselves. You got to love yourself in order to heal yourself. Let me say that again. You got to love yourself before you heal yourself. But a lot of people can't do it. Okay, now that's not to say you don't love yourself. You say, yeah, I love myself, but I'm going to smoke anyway. No, so you just say, I don't care. If I know that drinking snake venom is killing me, but yet I know it tastes sweet and it makes me, it helps my day. It makes me go through my day easier. It helps me deal with my stress easier, but yet it's killing me at the same time. Okay, I think I would find something else to be addicted to besides that snake venom. I would think that I would find something else to help me through the day. Okay, that will give me more benefit than it would kill me slowly. All right, because I love myself enough to do that. You can't say you love yourself, but you poison yourself at the same time. And especially when you got kids. You got kids, but you poison yourself, so you won't be able to see your kids when you're 60, 70, 80. Okay, or you will be like my emailer here and be mourning. You'll have your grandkids or your kid mourn for you because you decided not to love yourself. So your grandkids or your child will be the one contacting me or other Morpheuses around your America circulation. Okay, and your grandkids are saying the same thing. Well, mommy or grandpa is no longer with us because the smoke and yada yada yada. Yeah, they didn't care about themselves enough, and now they're left without you, because your kids aren't going to forget you, but they are going to remember what you used to do to get to where you are, which is not with us in the land of the living. They don't forget what you did to disappear. All right, that's not a good legacy to leave behind, because you want to have the nicotine fit to survive through the day. Now, I do understand that people without it will go crazy. Okay, I've seen the Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde. That's why I'm not judging. I don't judge. I'm just telling you accurate facts that you know yourself. The Dr. and the Mr. Hyde and Dr. Jekyll is very serious. The two-faced coin is serious. When you have your cigarette, I know you're good. Everything is fine. Everybody, there's no tornado in the workroom or the cubicles. Okay, you're easier to get along with. You can handle your stress a lot easier, and you ready to go to work. Okay, you can pound it out probably even more than me. Okay, whereas I might be exhausted after the 6 hour, you sitting there, keep going after 8, 9 hours, 10, you can keep going. As long as you have your cigarette. I'm not mad at you, I understand. But when that cigarette is not in play, when that nicotine isn't motivating you, okay, when it is not there to, as what you claim it to do, to calm you down, which is only an addiction. Any addiction is going to calm you down, whether it's bad or good. Okay, it's not the drug itself that just calms you down. It's the addiction that calms you down, because it gives your body a sense of dopamine, and it starts secreting, what do you call that? Reward chemicals, once again, for giving it what the body is addicted to or yearning for. Okay, so however, when you don't have it, okay, it is havoc. Okay, you are not good to be around. You got an attitude, you get frustrated, you get mad, you ready to cut somebody out, and you are ready to do some devastation wherever you are. You are a walking hurricane, the devil incarnate. I understand. All right, but that's nobody else's fault but your own for transforming yourself to be so dependent on that particular item where you can't live without it. It's no different than any illegal drug. It's just legal, but it has just as well as devastating effect. Now, that has nothing to do with you being a good person or a bad person. Okay? I'm not saying that they have bad personalities they can't get along with. Of course they do. I got plenty of associates, friends, and clients that smoke, and they are decent. I'm not saying anything about them not being a good person or a bad person. I'm just saying it's a conscious choice that individual needs to make whether to continue or not to continue, because it's not just them at the end of the day. There are loved ones. Most people have children. Most people have grandchildren. And you got doctors, and some of you got ministers that are constantly telling you, stop smoking, quit smoking, stop it. Okay, and your car still smell like it. Your clothes still smell like it. Your breath smell like it. You come around people, you still smell like it. Your hair smell like it. You know, and your wife may be comfortable with it. Maybe even your boyfriend or your husband, because birds of a feather oftentimes flock together. And sometimes they deal with that type of compromise, but the end result is never going to be good. You see, that's why I'm not sitting here telling you that you should not smoke or you should. That conscious decision is on you. It's on you. Okay? Because it's already known to be a bad byproduct. So when the town is burnt down because you wanted to have fun with this miniature torch because you was addicted to it, nobody can be the blame but yourself. When you're being diagnosed and something's wrong with your internal organs, with the mutation I just discussed, you can't get mad at anybody else but yourself. Okay, but it's not fair for your children. It's not fair for those who love you. It's not fair for those who really care about you as a friend or a decent associate. It's not fair for those who just want to be around you and they got to smell your smoke and your breath and your clothes. It's not fair for people to read about you in past tense because of your addiction. Okay, if anything, it should put a smile on your face that at least somebody cares. At least people care. Because this is the emailer that emailed me. I didn't come up with it. They did. I'm just answering. I'm the messenger. Okay, but I'm pretty sure there are plenty other people just like this one who is there's somebody's daughter. Okay, there's somebody's granddaughter. Do you understand? So this person being of somebody's sibling, offspring, a child, grandchild, okay? What makes you any different than that? What makes you exempt when you're going down the same path? Everybody's destiny, and yeah, your path may be different in life, okay, but you playing Russian roulette in a game that is 5 bullets against your own one possibility of success and survival. Not a smart game to play. And one thing that we're going to have to understand, and I usually try to implement that in all my audios, okay? That's what Leon C does. All right? Is just because you can do it don't mean you should. Just because it's legal to do, that don't mean you need to take it into your life and do it. You see, that's why they say drink responsibly. You know, just because it's legal to drink, okay, that doesn't mean that it's legal to drink all the time and as much as you want, anywhere you want to. You still have to be responsible for the damaging effects that you're going to receive. You have the Surgeon General. Okay, you have so much news. You have all the information that you can receive. And when you do your own evaluation, you realize that it's true that it's no good for you, but you do it anyway. Okay, that means you're just riding along because they say it's okay to do. It's legal to do, so you do it. That still doesn't mean you should do it because it's legal. Leave that stuff on the shelf and walk away from it. Stop allowing yourself to be a program consumer. Stop allowing yourself to be a program buyer of bad products that ain't going to do you no good, but bring you to the bad ending sooner than later. It's Leon C., your AKA Morpheus Red Pill. If you love yourself, do better for yourself. And I'm out.